Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our SJS Canada Patient Support Group. I am here with a few survivors from our support group. It is Stevens-Johnson Syndrome Awareness Group. And with me today is Jane, Karen, and Joseph, and myself, Sonia. So we are just going to share with you a very briefly about our journey with Stevens-Johnson syndrome and how we cope, because we just want to instill hope in those that are going through those days that we have been through. And also Joseph is on, he will be speaking as a care supporter and to instill hope in those who are caring for a patient or a survivor of Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which we know is not very easy. So just before I get Karen to speak, I will just briefly share with you what is Stevens-Johnson syndrome and toxic epidermal necrolysis. And in short, it's SJS and TEN. So they both represent different degrees of a severe, acute, life-threatening reaction, resulting mainly from drugs. Both are considered a medical emergency, and they require hospitalization, and management of the patient is usually provided in an intensive care or burn centers. Recovery can take weeks, as well as months and years, and there are numerous long-term effects. Medications are the major cause, and no specific treatment modality has been proven effective. However, in some cases, the cause of the Stevens-Johnson syndrome remain unknown in cases such as mine. So by current convention, the following terminology is used. The term Stevens-Johnson syndrome is used when the disease involved less than 10% of the body's surface area, and the term TEN is used when the disease involves more than 30% of the body surface area. So in a nutshell, it burns your body from the inside out. If you're burned to about 10% of your body, you're considered to have Stevens-Johnson syndrome. And if you are burned more than that, it is considered toxic epidermal necrolysis. And so I am going to ask Karen, can you share with us what your journey has been like to date and instill hope for those who are going through what you have been through?
Okay, so hi, I'm Karen. I was diagnosed with SJS, which I didn't really know the 30% or more till you just said it, Sonia. I maybe had 10s, I'm not sure, but so I was diagnosed, started feeling symptoms April 16th of 2021. I wasn't diagnosed till April 24th of 2021. I was admitted to a burn unit in the ICU. I did have amniotic discs in my eyes to help with the preservation of my eyes. But to this date, I still have issues. It burned my throat, as most people, that it was hard to eat. My lips, everything was burned. I got down to 87 pounds. I was very weak, but with the help of my husband and his support, he helped me through this as much as he could. But I know that he was afraid as much as I was. But so it's been over a year now, and I still have eye issues. I now have scleral lenses that try to help protect my corneas and also provide moisture to my eyes when you feel them, when you put them in your eyes. It's supposed to help with helping with the moisture in your eyes because of this SJS. It has I don't have any tear ducts or glands. They are blocked, so I do not produce any moisture in my eyes. So I have healed basically, besides the PTSD of going through what I did and my eyes. I'm very lucky to have come this far because the doctor did tell my husband that I was close to death. So I just want to put it out there that hopefully you will get better. I got better. I still have eye issues. I still get depressed from the issues that I do have, but I am very blessed to have basically most of my eyesight back. So I thank you for this time, and I'm always here if anybody wants to talk. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing with us. That has been quite a journey indeed. And I just want to also remind everyone that SJS, Stevens-Johnson syndrome, affects 1.6 million people, 1.6 per million people each year, and approximately 0.4 to 1.2 persons per million will be affected by TEN each year. This may sound like very rare condition, hardly happens, but believe me, folks, this happens more frequent than is been recorded or reported, because a lot of people die from this illness and they are not diagnosed. So lack of diagnosis sometimes leads to death because they don't get the proper treatment. But we have Joseph here today. Welcome, Joseph. Joseph is my husband. He is my rock, my caregiver. And so Joseph is just going to share a little bit with you what it has been like for him as a care supporter for his wife, and to also encourage those of you who are caring for a SJS patient. So welcome, Joseph. You are muted. You are muted.
Okay, welcome everyone. As a caregiver, I take my job seriously. I have to help out wherever and whenever I can. And it's no good moaning about it. I just try and get on with it. It's not an easy job because Sonia has changed so much. I have to do a lot of things for her, but I don't mind. You know, she used to like things like peppers, and now she can't eat certain foods. So whenever anyone is preparing anything for her, I have to tell them what she can eat and what she can't eat. And people, the family knows by now what they can prepare for her. Another thing is the light. I have to make sure that people know that she cannot take bright lights in the night. Sometimes a lot of people have to have more or less candlelit dinner when Sonia is around, because the bright light just doesn't work for her. She has to be kept cool. So if the temperature is a bit high, the AC or the fan has to be on. And in general, when you look at Sonia, you would think that she's okay because a lot of the telltale signs has disappeared. So I have to remind people that Sonia is not what she appears to be. as the sole of her feet is very tender. So she has to have special shoes or insole to accommodate that. I could go on and on, but I will just leave it there. Is there anything else you want me to talk about, Sonia? Or are we good for now?
Or what would you say to those who are caring for someone going through Stevens-Johnson syndrome, considering you have been there and is still going through it? How can you support others?
You just have to learn of their needs. It might vary, and try and apply the help wherever and whenever necessary. It's not going to be easy, but you know, when you love someone, you can't do too much for them.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Joseph, for sharing that. And if I may just add, one of the things that Joseph has learned to do is to just be physically present, because sometimes when I am going through a certain phase and I get irritable or I get very sad and depressed, he has learned to realize that trying to console me verbally is not always the best situation, but just to be physically present and be there and just to listen. So I guess we just want to pass that on to other care supporters out there, that it's very important sometimes to be physically present. And it doesn't mean that you have to try and console or speak to the individual. So thanks again, Joseph. So we have Jane. Jane will be sharing with us a bit of her journey as well, and tell us how she copes, and of course how to instill hope in those that are going through the similar phases in their journey. So Jane, welcome, take it away.
Thank you, Sonia, and thank you, everyone. That's wonderful, Karen and Joseph, what you both spoke to and about. Some of which I have to say, I don't want to repeat too much, but yes, I had Stevens-Johnson syndrome with overlapping 10, which means I was burnt sick about 60-70% of my body, burnt from the inside out. I was lucky that, or considered myself fortunate that I didn't suffer the eye difficulties that many people suffer when they, as a result of getting this nasty illness. But I think that the main thing I've struggled with many things, issues that have been post Stevens-Johnson 10, and resulting in a lot of pain that's continuous. But I guess the thing that I do see is people they find it hard to almost take you seriously, or to use that word of listen to what you have to say and to acknowledge what you have to say. Those are the things that I find the most difficulty within the medical environment and the social environment, and just generally. People see you as somebody that, well, you look fine to me. But what they don't realize is all the post effects that are affecting you, and it can take a toll on you mentally and physically. There's a lot of physical side effects, and it can lead to things like depression and just tension if you're in a household where you're partnered with somebody. So I mean, there are many issues. I won't get into what they are specifically, but there are many, and and each person is an individual within their own right, and inherent within that individual are specific post-traumatic stressors and stressors that they have inherited from having this illness. And it makes it very difficult on a daily basis. And there's some days you just, you really are exhausted from dealing with it. But it's that thinking when you belong to a group such as this group that Sonia's has been a blessing to have started this group, and the fact that we've come together. There's a group of us that have come together. We're not many, but we're strong. And our latest saying is Stephen Johnson syndrome 10. What is it? We can't stop us. Is that what it is, Sonia? And you can add to that, yes, we can. We can do it. We can get through this, and you do get through it. And you do get through it with the support of others. But I guess my most difficult problem has been making the medical environment and people that I deal with in that to realize it's not in one's head, that these things exist and they have to provide services. And there's a long way to go with how we distribute medication and have knowledge of distributing medication, and putting Stephen Johnson syndrome, because it's so rare, it's not put in the forefront when people in the medical environment are learning and training. It's not put in the forefront. Pharmacists, it's not put in the forefront of their learning, academia, and it needs to be there, because I've had doctors, when I was in hospital, they came to see me and I said they had worked in this major hospital and they've never seen it before. They've been there 30 years and they had never seen it before, the Stephen Johnsons. So that's sort of what you're dealing with. And caregivers are so important. My caregiver was my precious son, who has done a lot to support me. And my little dog, who you can hear barking right now. So I'll end there because I think we may have to do a visit outside. But anyway, thank you so much, everyone, and your treasure, Sonia, and bless you, Karen and Joseph, and the folks that aren't here, Jeremy, and all the others that are so precious to Howie, YC, and Jen, and Brent, and everyone that we deal with on a regular basis, and all the doctors and therapists and counselors that have come to our aid in this group to help us. So if you're out there struggling, don't struggle. Come to this group because it'll do wonders for you.
Wow.
Peace and love.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you also, Joseph, and thank you, Karen. And it is not an easy journey, folks. And so just to add a little bit to what Jane was saying, we are trying to break through in the medical community. SJS Canada is part of an international organization that has an international SJSTEN conference every 2 years. So in 2019, we were a part of it when it was in Vancouver. In 2021, it was held in the States, so that's last year. And we are looking forward to the 2023 SJSTEN International Conference. And so you can check our website for information regarding that. And so just to do a quick wrap up, I just want you to know that Stevens-Johnson syndrome has symptoms that are characterized by fever, cough, malaise, etc. So it's like flu-like symptoms. And then it develops into some lesions that starts to form all over your body. And also you have tender sores that starts to develop. So what I want to say to you is these are painful sores. And if you find yourselves dealing with any of these symptoms, they also affect the oral cavity and the nasal cavity all over. So if you find yourself developing or experiencing any of these symptoms, quickly find yourself to the emergency room, seek medical attention, because Stevens-Johnson syndrome and TEN, time is of great essence. Lives can be spared if the illness is diagnosed and treated in a timely manner. So thank you all for tuning in. And again, I am Sonia. I am a survivor of Stevens-Johnson syndrome. I had this attack in 2011, and I literally started with flu-like symptoms, just like I explained. I thought it was the worst case of the flu I was having. Next thing you know, I was in the emergency room just over a weekend. It started on the Friday. By Monday, I was in an emergency room, admitted to the hospital, fighting for my life, charred, my body literally charred to an unrecognizable state. I was burning from the inside out. So thank you again for stopping by and for watching our video. On behalf of SJS Canada and the SJS Canada support group, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Visit us on Facebook and on Instagram. Take care and thanks again. I don't know if any of my counterparts have any final words, so I will just open the mics really quickly if Karen, Jane, or Joseph would like to give a final word.
I just want to say, Sonia, that you're absolutely amazing. And I look forward to these meetings every month. And if I didn't have you guys, I think my life would be a lot different. So I want to say thank you for everybody that listens, to everybody that understands what I'm going through, for your husband, Joseph, just like my husband, David, who, you know, puts up with me and does the best he can. And when I was really sick and when I got home from the hospital, he was a very good nurse. So he took good care of me, but it's a process and just hang in there. I'm still hanging in there and it's one day at a time. But thank you, Sonia, for this wonderful organization you have, because I do look forward to talking to everybody every month.
And I
So
applaud,
thank you.
I applaud that too, Karen. Very well said.
That's it for now. We do have our monthly support group, third Wednesday of each month. You can find the information on our website, and it is also on our Facebook page. Happy Stevens-Johnson Syndrome Awareness Day. Stay blessed.
Bye, guys.
Make sure you know to stop recording.